Fans of My 600-Pound Life have witnessed morbidly obese patients reshape their bodies and lives. The patients profiled on the show all start out hundreds of pounds overweight, with the devastating health and emotional problems that come with that. Here are the most stunning transformations ever seen on the show. Amber Rachdi's transformation is one of the most jaw-dropping in the history of My 600-Pound Life. When she first appeared on the show at age 23, she weighed 657 pounds and said she felt like a, quote, nasty, yucky monster. Her legs carried a great deal of her weight, and as a result, she said she couldn't stand for more than 30 minutes at a time. After losing 20 pounds in order to qualify for gastric bypass surgery with Dr. Now, she underwent the procedure and ended up getting down to 377 pounds within a year. But she didn't stop there. Amber ultimately lost over 400 pounds and kept it off, profiling her journey with glamorous pinup-style selfies on Facebook and Instagram, where her profile once read, "I spent a long time not liking me, so I'm documenting moments I feel pretty." Rachdi, who confessed on her episode of My 600-Pound Life that her weight prevented her from being intimate with her then-boyfriend, now has a lot to celebrate when it comes to her personal life. She got engaged in 2016 and has since tied the knot with new husband Steve. Brittani Fulfer's desire to get more out of her life is what led her to the office of Dr. Now, who knew then that he had his work cut out for him. Despite being one of the shorter participants to have appeared on My 600-Pound Life, Fulfer still tipped the scales at over 600 pounds and gaining. She told Women's Health, "I was legitimately sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted to be able to travel, have a family, and be the wife that my husband deserves. I felt I had more to offer myself, friends, and family than just having them help take care of me." Brittani Fulfer was 605 pounds when we were introduced to her in Season 4, but through willpower and surgery, she got all the way down to an amazing 222 pounds. She said that shedding all that weight was like escaping from prison to her. She later told Women's Health, "Since losing weight, I am able to do things I have always wanted to do. I am no longer angry, upset, or feel the need to hide." Brittani was also given the okay for knee surgery and skin removal by Dr. Now in a Where Are They Now episode, and she looks like a different woman nowadays. However, some issues can't be fixed by surgeons. According to Olympia TMS, Fulfer has revealed that she's been suffering from depression since slimming down, using the hashtags mental health and bipolar in a 2020 Instagram post. Angela Marie Dunham-Johns was introduced to viewers as Angie J. The 643-pound Ohio native and her admittedly bleak backstory caused waves in Season 7 after she criticized Dr. Now's dietary requirements and derailed his treatment plan with illegal drugs.
"And if you decide to continue and come back down here, I'm going to run toxicology on you to make sure there is nothing in your system that shouldn't be there."
She managed to lose just under 50 pounds in the 8 months during which the cameras followed her around, but that still left her a long way off the target weight she'd been asked to hit in order to qualify for gastric bypass surgery. Her episode ended with little to no progress made, and Angie J appeared to be a lost cause. Nonetheless, she carried on working towards her goal off-camera and appears to have finally achieved it. According to Starcasm, Angie had set up a GoFundMe to help pay for her surgery prior to her debut on My 600-Pound Life, and she updated it the day after her divisive episode aired. She revealed that she had dropped the required amount of weight since filming and would indeed be going under the knife after all. However, there was also some bad news to share. Her husband had left her and her house had been, quote, burglarized all within the space of 48 hours. Since filming the show, Angie's had the surgery, and there's apparently a new romantic interest in her life, but her journey isn't quite over yet. In 2020, she started a new GoFundMe to help her get back to Texas so that Dr. Now can take care of her excess skin. Justin McSwain weighed 687 pounds at his biggest, and he was in a very dark place back then.
But when I go in the bathroom, I do everything I can not to look at myself in the mirror. Because when I look in the mirror, I see a mistake.
Dr. Dr. Now told him that he would need to lose 100 pounds if he was going to proceed with surgery. And even though he fell just short of that target, the doc gave him the go-ahead. Today, Justin appears to be a totally new man. McSwain is active on social media, where he shares snapshots of himself doing things that he never imagined possible, like wall climbing and hiking in the mountains. In May 2019, he shared a side-by-side photo for his many followers to show just how far he'd come in 1 year, and the results were genuinely shocking. Maintaining his impressive new weight is a daily struggle, McSwain has intimated, especially when it comes to having his picture taken. He captioned a black and white photo of himself looking slimmer than ever in March 2021 on Instagram. "I'm still very self-conscious about my body, the loose and excess skin, how I hold myself and what parts I show, but every now and then someone manages to get a picture I feel confident in." Zsalynn Whitworth weighed 375 pounds before she even graduated from high school. Instead of hiding behind her weight, she leaned into it, making friends through the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. She told My San Antonio, "I met this whole world of men, really good-looking men, really well-off men, who liked fat women. I was like a kid in a candy store. I would travel to the NAAFA conventions and I would meet people there who would fly me places." She ended up married with a daughter, but her marriage to larger, lady-loving Britt Gareth fell apart when she got gastric bypass surgery and lost the weight.
Why settle for a hot dog when you can have a steak?
And he wasn't talking about food.
Gareth and I are finally officially divorced. He didn't want me to lose the weight.
Whitworth was done feeling bad about choosing her health. She shed 316 pounds after her gastric bypass surgery, and she feels justifiably obliged to keep it off. The Kerrville native told My San Antonio, "I have a lot of people saying, 'You're so inspirational, I admire you,' but they're holding me accountable, and I like that." She added that public recognition from the show even helps her avoid making bad decisions as small as buying, quote, "a candy bar at a convenience store." As anyone who's lost weight knows, any extra motivation helps. Angel Parrish weighed 570 pounds when she first appeared on My 600-Pound Life, riding in a wheelchair and relying on her boyfriend, Donnie, for her everyday needs. She said that her eating habits had been triggered by the trauma of placing a baby up for adoption when she was only 14, and the situation got worse when she later experienced postpartum depression after giving birth to a son with Donnie. Parrish lost over 150 pounds through diet changes, and then underwent weight loss surgery with Dr. Now. She adopted a fitness routine and ultimately dropped over 300 pounds. After losing the weight, she reflected, "It's been a long time since I could look at myself and see someone that I thought was beautiful." After slimming down, she was able to be a much more active parent. She said, "I wake up and it's not to eat, it's to get Andrew ready for school." Nikki Webster is one of the most notable success stories on My 600-Pound Life. She originally weighed in at 649 pounds, and her weight was affecting her career in costume design. Luckily, she had strong support from her family and was able to undergo gastric bypass surgery with Dr. Now. According to People magazine, she ultimately lost 450 pounds. In 2017, she told the mag, "It's hard to imagine now how I used to live. It's just become so vastly different. It has been the hardest 2 years of my life, but it's been the most victorious and exciting." She explained how she stays fit, telling People, "I do a lot of walking. That's my favorite thing to do. I'll walk at least 2 to 3 miles a day, or I try to. I'll also try to do weight training and that kind of thing. I go to the gym every now and then and do those sorts of things." In 2018, Nicki revealed on Facebook that she'd gotten married, writing, "I kind of got married. He's the absolute best and I honestly couldn't be more happy. It's been a busy few months." Christina Phillips' weight loss story is nothing short of amazing. After debuting on Season 2 of My 600-Pound Life, she shocked everyone when she lost over 500 pounds, going from a dangerous 708 to an incredible 171 pounds. Phillips told Women's Health, "Getting up and walking just a few feet made me feel like I was going to die. I couldn't drive, walk far, or go out with friends and family. I was miserable, and I knew I had to do something." The Mississippi native just kept on shedding the pounds after her successful gastric bypass surgery, which enabled her to do things that she never dreamed of doing before. Losing weight doesn't always mean shedding all your problems, however. Christina divorced her longtime husband Zach after he failed to adjust to her new life as a mobile person, and she's been experiencing mental health struggles in the aftermath too. She said in a catch-up episode, "My fear of gaining weight has crippled me, but I have to move past that fear if I want to live my life." 606-pound mother Tara Taylor was barely able to stand when she came under the care of Dr. Now in Season 2. She was relying on her family to take care of her 2 kids, though thankfully she doesn't need them anymore. She burned 300 pounds and was able to be an involved parent to her children for the first time in a long time. She was also able to start dating, as she revealed in her Where Are They Now episode. She said, "I have never in my life been on a traditional date. This is a whole new world for me." She'd known the man that she went on that date with for a long time, which made things easier. Old pal Eugene was blown away by how stunning she looked, and they went from friends to partners that night. Before long, they were engaged. She said, "The reason I am willing to give Eugene a chance is that he is a good man." It turns out she may have spoken too soon. In 2020, the former My 600-Pound Life participant took to social media to call her fiancé out for creating a profile on a dating website to organize flings behind her back. Her caption read, "He had the nerve to make this when he was engaged to me. When someone shows you who they are, believe it." Melissa D. Morris shed almost 500 pounds with the help of Dr. Now, who she now calls boss. In 2019, the former My 600-Pound Life participant revealed that she'd secured a job at his office in Houston, Texas, calling it her, quote, favorite place in the world in a celebratory Instagram post. At her heaviest, she weighed 653 pounds, but after surgery and some strict dieting, she got down to an amazing 157 pounds. 10 years after surgery, she said, "Before I lost the weight, I was miserable and barely living life. My dream was to have kids." Her dream became a reality. She and her husband brought 3 kids into the world, all of whom are big fans of Dr. Now. She captioned a pic of the kids with her savior and new employer. "They just find it amazing that mom works for the cool doctor on television, but little do they know that without him, they wouldn't be here." Morris dotes on the children, but being a mother came at a cost. Her weight has crept back up to 270.
I didn't realize how hard it was going to be when you have kids and have food for them around you all day long.
She's still aiming for her ideal weight of 150 pounds, but she's doing it without the support of her husband, Chris.
Wants those daggone socks on again.
Can you start putting them on him?
No.
In 2021, Morris confirmed that she was now a single mom.
I just found out Chris was talking to another lady to have sex.
When Paula Jones decided to lose weight, she had a powerful and tragic motivation. Her husband had died from weight-related complications, having weighed over 600 pounds at his heaviest. A year after he passed away, Jones herself weighed 542 pounds and worried that she too would suffer a life-threatening complication from obesity, leaving her 4 children on their own without a mother. She decided that it was time to change and paid a visit to Dr. Now, but she was stunned when she set foot on the scale and saw her weight. She said sadly, "I'm huge. I look like a monster." Jones followed through with her commitment to trim down, moving her family from Georgia to Texas in order to have surgery. According to Woman's World, it paid off, and she experienced amazing results, ultimately losing 400 pounds. The mag reported that her relationship with her kids has improved, with Jones saying, "I can be more active with them. I've learned how to be emotionally healthy as well as physically healthy." Chuck Turner weighed in at 693 pounds when he first appeared on the show. He said that he started gaining weight years earlier after his first wife was tragically murdered. He eventually married his second wife, Nissa, and they adopted a son together. But his marriage became strained when his obesity prevented him from helping her with anything around the house. According to In Touch Weekly, his situation had grown even more complicated because a 40-pound growth called a lymphedema had developed on his leg, hindering his movements even further. He told TLC producers, "I'd rather be a dead man than have to live like this for the rest of my life." Luckily, he was able to have weight loss surgery with Dr. Now, and he ended up losing 433 pounds. Unfortunately, he and Nissa eventually split up.
So let's work this out. I've lost weight and I'm doing good.
Nothing's changed. I'm miserable.
According to In Touch, he said in a reunion special that he was looking for love again. Donald Shelton's weight loss journey was a bit of a bumpy road with lots of twists and turns. When viewers were first introduced to him, he weighed 678 pounds, and his weight made it hard to move around, causing him to ride in a wheelchair. His immobility led to severe bouts of depression. After weight loss surgery with Dr. Now, he was able to lose almost 400 pounds, but according to In Touch Weekly, he was unfortunately diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which affected his ability to walk and required him to be wheelchair-bound again. Unfortunately, after this devastating setback, he reportedly gained back 200 pounds. But like the other highly motivated stars of My 600-Pound Life, Shelton didn't give up. According to In Touch, he was ultimately able to drop some of the weight he put on, and he looked trim and happy in later social media posts. Every story on My 600-Pound Life is heartbreaking, but when Laura Perez revealed the origins of her episode of the show, it made for particularly difficult viewing. At just 5 years old, an older cousin began abusing her, and food became her coping mechanism. She revealed on the show, "I never told my parents anything, so the molestation went on for years. My whole life just changed, so I turned to food. That was my comfort." When viewers were introduced to Perez in Season 3, she weighed 594 pounds. She was confined to a wheelchair and needed an oxygen tank to breathe. Dr. Now said, "She is physically in one of the worst shapes I have ever seen." The surgeon removed 80% of Perez's stomach during a gastrectomy, and she managed to shed an amazing 412 pounds. But her new figure caused problems with her marriage. During her March 2018 Where Are They Now special, Perez revealed that her husband was having a hard time accepting the new her. She said, "Joey and me seem to be fighting more than ever.
I want to keep becoming more independent and get a job and have a career. He doesn't want me to do that."
In April 2018, a man named Eric Juarez revealed that Perez had left Joey for him and that she'd begun going by the name Angelica.
"I'm not 600 pounds anymore, so I don't need to be trapped."
Like Laura Perez, Diana Bunch's food addiction was triggered by childhood trauma, but it didn't take over her life until years later. According to The Wrap, she was molested by 2 older boys at 11 years old. Binge eating helped her cope, but her mother pressured her to diet even though Bunch spent her teenage years weighing around 115 pounds. Once she left the nest, however, that all changed. According to In Touch, the Seattle resident joined the Air Force but was discharged because her size meant she couldn't perform her duties. Out of work, Bunch started getting bigger. She became confined to her 1-bedroom apartment, eating herself to a dangerous size, a reported 620 pounds at one point. She said during her first appearance on the show, "When you're morbidly obese, everyday life, just getting through it, it's miserable. Pain is a constant visitor throughout my day, but my legs are what hurt the most." Her lymphedema was crippling, leaving her with swollen legs covered in open sores. She said, "I don't look human. If I don't get help, I know that this apartment is where I'm going to die." It was her niece Megan who convinced her to move to Texas and see Dr. Now, who removed 70% of her stomach. She was able to shed 265 pounds as a result and is now living life to the fullest. Every Tuesday, Bunch updates her Facebook page with something she's thankful for. When My 600-Pound Life viewers first met June McCamey, her relationship with her girlfriend had reached breaking point. Longtime partner Saudi was buying fast food for McCamey on a daily basis, sometimes making up to 3 trips out in a single day in order to avoid confrontation. Saudi said, "She acts like an addict. Her fix is food." McCamey was well aware that she'd become a burden to her girlfriend, admitting that she felt like a prisoner in her own home. She said during her first appearance on the show, "I'm living in a nightmare. I feel imprisoned into my body. I have 3 seats, the bed, the bathroom toilet, and my chair. My world is confined. I feel suffocated." McCamey had steadily gained weight over the course of 4 pregnancies and let herself go altogether after the tragic death of her 17-year-old son, Mac. By the time she agreed to meet with Dr. Now, she was worried that her knees were about to give way. She said, "I don't think they're going to last." They did last, however, and today those knee joints are under considerably less pressure. After going under the knife, McCamey was able to start losing weight for the first time in a long time. By 2018, she dropped in excess of 200 pounds. In response to her incredible recovery, McCamey said, "I'm way more mobile than I was almost a year ago. I'm not sick like I used to be. I'm truly enjoying life again." Nicole Lewis was just 23 when she debuted on My 600-Pound Life, but she was already too big to fit into her own bathroom. The 684-pound mother of two's relationship with her own mom was at breaking point by the time Dr. Now entered the picture. Lewis said, "When I was little, me and my mom never really got along because she had a really bad temper and would explode on me for things that I just didn't understand. And when that happened, I would always run to the garage because my dad would be out there working on something. So I would just sit with him and he would give me a snack." Her weight problems really exploded after her truck driver dad was jailed for crimes related to drugs, which he apparently used openly and often in the home. By the time she turned 16, Lewis was tipping the scale at 400 pounds. She's shed hundreds of pounds since her My 600-Pound Life days, according to Starcasm. But she's not on good terms with the people who make the show. Lewis is one of the many former My 600-Pound Life participants involved in a lawsuit against production company Megalomedia, which failed to meet its contractual obligations to her, she claims. According to Starcasm, the lawsuit alleges that producers failed to pay for Lewis's surgeries and medical care, and this has caused her injury and damages. When Chay Guillory joined Season 3 of My 600-Pound Life, it was the beginning of a journey in both weight loss and gender identity. Guillory was determined to lose hundreds of pounds of debilitating weight and to start living life as a woman, and that's exactly what happened. She explained in her 2016 Where Are They Now episode, "I feel like for so long I have lived a lie. Once I lose the weight, it will be possible for me to be the person I have always identified as. And that person is a woman." She even toyed with changing her name to Lola, but revealed in a subsequent update that it didn't suit her after all. The Louisiana native weighed just shy of 600 pounds when she first arrived at Dr. Now's HQ in Houston, but the surgery helped her shed almost 220 of them. She said in 2016, following her weight loss surgery, "My body moves easier, there is more pep in my step, and I just feel so much better, and I can do so much more." Big changes happened in Chay's personal life since then, too. She got engaged to her boyfriend in 2019, and the lovebirds tied the knot the following year. A happily married Guillory shared a wedding photo on Instagram to celebrate their first anniversary in March 2021, captioning the pic in part, "Can't imagine life with anyone else." My 600-Pound Life has shown time and again how weighing over 600 pounds can be crippling. Add another 200 pounds to that, and this is the life that Charity Pierce was living when she turned to Dr. Now. She'd weighed at least 500 pounds since her early teens. At just shy of 800 pounds, she was considered one of, if not the heaviest woman in the world at the time of her episode, and she knew that changing that fact would be a mammoth task. She shed 100 pounds in order to get the green light for gastric bypass surgery, which helped her shrink down to half the original size, losing a whopping 400 pounds. She continued to lose weight. By her Where Are They Now episode, she was under the 300-pound mark for the first time in years. But her health took a sudden turn for the worse. In a 2020 Facebook post, Pierce revealed that she had been diagnosed with kidney cancer. She said, "The next step was to get my kidney removed as soon as possible before it had a chance to spread to other organs in my body. So on March 2nd, my kidney was removed, and now I'm recovering at home trying to heal." A few months later, her daughter posted to say that Pierce had some struggles but is doing great now. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.